An ordinary person does not voluntarily come into this world and leaves it. If a person is happy with what he has, then he quickly begins to consider himself the master of his own life, unwittingly scolding those who cannot achieve what they really need. If a person loses the thread of event management for some reason, he involuntarily begins to think that there is a creator who controls everything. In such a situation, a person begins to see the will of the creator in what is happening around them. Even nature becomes for man a special creation of God, which he previously perceived as a natural continuation of life and much more. Therefore, the knowledge of God is impossible without realizing that man himself does not control his life and that not everything is available to him from what he would like to have and what he would like to control. Most often, the Creator is not seen by those who do only what they want and consider themselves the root cause of what is happening in their lives. A proud and arrogant person is unable to know God because he considers himself to be the root cause of all events and everything that happens in his life. Pride and conceit simply prevent him from seeing and understanding the Creator. After all, a proud person always thinks that he is the master of life and that he is always right. And in general, if he only wants something, it will be exactly the way he wants it. It is for this reason that the knowledge of the Creator is impossible without realizing one's own insignificance in front of the greatness of nature, the beauty of what is happening in the world, the freshness and purity of being. On the scale of the universe, a single person turns out to be much smaller than an atom. Atoms are one of the smallest particles of the universe. They are the main building blocks of what we call matter. Everything we see around us, everything we touch, is made up of tiny atoms. If you put 10 million atoms in a row, you get a structure of 1 millimeter. 1 glass of water contains more atoms than the number of glasses of water needed to fill all the oceans of the world. If we compare the universe with the ocean, the galaxies will be like bubbles in ocean waves, and it will be almost impossible to see the solar system in the bubble of the Milky Way. And if we compare our solar system with an atom, then the Earth will be much smaller than an atom and even fewer nucleons, the particles that make up the atomic nucleus. The size of an atom is on the order of 0.1 nanometer. The size of a person is slightly more than 1 meter. This means that a person is 10 billion times larger than an atom. This is in linear size. The difference in mass will be much greater. The diameter of Arcturus is about 36 million kilometers. There will be 36 billion meters. The difference with a human is 36 billion times for a 2-meter man, 18 billion times, but atoms also vary quite a lot in size. The difference between the size of an atom and a human is about the same as the difference between a human and the star Arcturus. Or, for example, the diameter of a star in the constellation Canis Major is about 3 billion kilometers, and this star is 100 times bigger than Arcturus. Therefore, over the centuries, our ideas about the world around us have constantly changed. It is interesting to trace this story, starting from a flat Earth on elephants and a turtle and ending with the latest hypotheses about the multiverse so far. Currently, there are several options for what the whole universe looks like. 1. The universe arose as a result of the Big Bang. It is constantly expanding with acceleration, like an inflating soap bubble or balloon. However, no one knows what is beyond this universal sphere. 2. The universe might not have originated in the Big Bang process. There was something else before it, some other universe, and ours is just a consequence of the rebirth of the previous one. What the laws of physics were in it, how it looked is unknown to anyone. 3. The universe may not be alone. Proponents of the multiverse argue that there may be a great many such bubble universes, but what they are inside, what separates them, are also unanswered questions. 4. The universe is infinite, static and homogeneous, one of a kind and fills everything and everything, an outdated idea, since accelerated expansion has been proven, but not everyone is in a hurry to abandon it. But there is something else. Scientists are alarmed by the fact that everything in the world is built according to the same laws. For example, an electron revolves around an atomic nucleus in the same way as planets revolve around the sun, and those in turn revolve around the galactic nucleus. The most detailed photograph of a human cell, taken by scientists at Harvard University, also inspired concern in the hearts of many. There are whole cities and factories inside us. There are about 100 trillion cells in the body of an adult, and all of them appeared as a result of the division of only one cell. And it's suspicious. Each cell has its own work instruction. They are all born inside us, die, divide, and know their business. Let's remember biology. There are energy production centers in the cell, factories that produce hormones and enzymes necessary for vital activity, an information center where information about manufactured products is located, transport systems of necessary products and raw materials, pipelines, laboratories and plants for processing and purification of products coming from the external environment. There is a postal service, city house control center, customs posts, police stations that control the entry and exit of molecules, ions, and much more. It is amazing how smoothly and precisely cellular structures work to ensure order in the rapidly occurring metabolic processes and ultimately cell viability. And for sure there is something else more finely organized, only our microscopes have not yet reached it. So thoughts arise, can the universe be just a tiny atom or a cell? Man is so built that he always looks into everything that surrounds him, both into his body and into space. The diameter of the visible universe at the moment is about 90 billion light years. It is possible that the part of the universe that we have not yet discovered may be much larger. Can you imagine these incredible distances? Surely, the workers who work in the cell factories inside us will also have difficulty imagining, for example, the path from shoulder to palm. But still, the idea that the universe can be an atom is quite real, and atoms are even smaller than cells. Atoms are so small that even Harvard scientists with their modern optical weapons will not consider them. We don't know exactly what they look like, but studying their behavior proves that atoms themselves are made up of smaller, subatomic particles, protons, neutrons, electrons, and quarks. Since not only cells, but even atoms have their own complex structure, this is what makes us think about the theory of the existence of the microuniverse. But how many atoms are there in the universe? How many living beings are there on Earth? How many atoms can there be on our planet alone? And how many microuniverses can there be in them? An atom consists of a nucleus, which is formed from protons and neutrons, and an electron moving around it. Such a model was proposed back in 1911 by the British physicist Ernest Rutherford, calling it the planetary model of the atom. Is the similarity of the tiniest system with at least the solar system explained by the laws of physics? Or is this similarity a clear hint that the universe itself, with its 90 billion light years, is just an atom, and all the matter we see is just its smallest structures? The concept of size in the universe is a very relative term, and in general, everything is relative. Our world corresponds to our size, the world of cells. For us it seems negligibly small, but for those who seem tiny to us, to the inhabitants it looks as perfect as everything that surrounds us. Does every inhabitant of the cell understand that he is embedded in the world of giants relative to them in humans? It is unlikely, but it is possible to admit this, because in turn, people who admire galaxies that seem to them to be giants realize themselves next to them only as tiny grains of sand. And looking at the structure of the atom, which accommodates various structures that somewhat resemble the solar system, can we assume that our universe would fit on the tip of a thin laboratory needle? Infinity can be in any direction, in the direction of increasing and decreasing scales. The realization of this is breathtaking. Everything is made up of the same atoms. Even we are made up of atoms that once visited the depths of dead stars, which were also formed from atoms. This whole vicious circle may lead us to the cherished birth of a theory of everything that could explain all the laws of the universe. Therefore, cognition of the Creator is impossible without insignificance and awareness of it. Blaise Pascal, a French mathematician, mechanic, physicist, writer and philosopher, wrote that knowing God without realizing your insignificance leads to pride. Knowing your own insignificance without knowing God leads to hopelessness.